When you hear the word megacity, you think of Tokyo, Sao Paulo, New York. You think of steel and glass. But 1,000 years before the skyscraper, there was a different kind of giant. Hidden in the heart of West Africa, a city rose from the Sahel that rivaled the great capitals of Europe. A lost labyrinth of iron and clay. This is not a story of ruins in a jungle. This is the story of Kano.
A city so vast, so fortified, that its walls were once visible from space. A megacity that time tried to erase, but the earth refuses to forget. To survive in the sail, the windswept belt between the desert and the jungle, you needed walls. In the year 1095, while Europe was marching to the Crusades, King Gijimasu of the Kingdom of Kano began a project of insane ambition. He didn't just build a palace, he built a living organism.
The Ganuwar of Kano, the Great Wall of Kano, originally 15 miles long, later expanded to 30 miles, standing 50 feet high in some places. To call it a wall is an insult. It was a geography. It was a statement. For centuries, this was the gauntlet. Merchants from Tripoli, from Timbuktu, from Bornu, they didn't enter a city, they entered a fortress, because inside these walls was the engine of the world. The walls protected the unthinkable. While Europe suffered the Black Death, Kano became a factory. This is where the world got its color: indigo, blue gold. The cloth made here, dyed in the pits you see right now, some of which are over 500 years old, was traded from the shores of the Mediterranean to the forests of the Gold Coast. By the 16th century, under the reign of Muhammad Rumfa, Kano was the undisputed titan of the trans-Saharan trade. It was the land of light. It was the first megacity of the Sudan, and at its center, a palace. The Emir's palace still stands today, continuously inhabited for over 500 years. That is not a museum, that is a heartbeat. But the walls were the real secret. They weren't just defense, they were a schedule. The walls dictated the rhythm of life. At sunrise, the gates, Kofar Famfo, Kofar Dukawiya, would groan open. 100,000 people, then 200,000. By the 1800s, historians estimate that the walled enclosure held nearly 500,000 inhabitants. It was the largest pre-colonial city in West Africa. And then the British came. The year is 1903. The British Empire arrives. They see the walls of Kano, a structure built to resist cavalry and arrows. They have Maxim guns. The fall of Kano took only a few days, but the destruction of its soul took decades. The British didn't just conquer the city, they modernized it. The wall was an obstacle for progress, for roads, for railways. The colonial administration began the systematic demolition of the gates. By the time of Nigerian independence in 1960, the megacity had been gutted. The walls were quarried for bricks, the ditches were filled for housing. We call it the lost megacity because for most of the 20th century, the wall became invisible. Kano exploded outward, a modern metropolis of over 4 million people. The old structure was just background noise, left to rot, a relic of a primitive past. But the mud does not disappear. It returns to the earth. And in that return, the people remembered. The walls of Kano were built with a lost technology, tabby concrete, a mix of laterite, clay, and locust bean pods. This isn't a secret, it's a memory, and the city is waking up. Today, a quiet war is being fought. Local historians and the Emirate Council are racing against the rainy season. To restore the 1,000-year-old walls of Kano is not just to save bricks, it is to reclaim the narrative. An elderly man strokes the wall. My grandfather walked here. His grandfather was born here. The wall is the history of our faces. Kano is a ghost that refuses to die. You can see the wall from the highway, broken but defiant, a jagged scar of glory on the face of the concrete jungle. They say a city is not defined by its tallest building, but by its oldest wall. Kano has been forgotten by the world. It was looted, colonized, and paved over, but the earth remembers. The megacity isn't lost. It's just waiting for you to look down.